Hello everyone, this is Joe Malash. I'm the Superintendent of the Public Schools here in Cherry Hill. Welcome to our first Lunch and Learn conversation with the Superintendent of Schools. Thank you for joining me this afternoon. I hope that everyone is having a wonderful day. It certainly is cold outside, hence my little cardigan for today. I need to stay a little bit extra warm. Hope everyone is doing well and that you're taking the opportunity to join us today to have some questions and some dialogue and response. If you would like to submit questions, you may still certainly submit questions. As you are watching the video, if you click on Watch on YouTube, there's a place where you can pull up to chat. If you submit questions in there, Barbara Wilson is sitting here with me. She's actually across the table. She's our Public Information Officer, and she will be feeding questions to me as they come through. So please, as you join in, go through the YouTube. If you'd like to submit questions, you may certainly do that. I'm also watching myself down here on my computer so that I can see questions as they come through as well. So we have a few questions that came through already today and earlier this week as we had announced what we were doing. So I will start with those questions. If you have more, click on the YouTube viewing and you'll be able to submit questions through the chat. So the first question that came through is, why are we returning to school on January 2nd? So as everyone knows, our winter break commences a week from today. We have an early dismissal day on Friday, the 23rd of December. And then students will be out of school from the 24th, which is Saturday, the 24th of December, and we'll return on Monday, January the 2nd. While January the 2nd is observed as the federal holiday, because January 1st, New Year's Day, is a federal holiday, about half of the districts that we were able to find throughout the state of New Jersey are returning to school on January 2nd, and about half are returning on January 3rd. The scheduling of the school calendar is something that is done well in advance. It involves discussion with the stakeholder groups that are involved here in our district, from the zone PTA table to the CHEA, which is the Teachers Association, the Administrators Association, as we set the calendar. In Cherry Hill, our students come to school 182 days, which is 2 days more than what the state mandate of 180 days is, and our certificated staff members work 187 days during the course of the year. So when the calendar was submitted, there was discussion back and forth about the length of the year, when students would be in and when students would be out, and this was the calendar that ultimately was adopted by the Board of Education. So students are returning on Monday, January the 2nd, 2017, which in so many ways just seems incredible to be able to say that we're going to be in 2017. For those of you who have not really looked too much at the calendar, this is the shortest winter break that we can experience because of when the New Year's Day falls. A couple of years ago, we had the longest winter break that we can experience. So we are now in the cycle where this is the shortest. So we will return on Monday, January the 2nd. The calendar is posted. If you want to see our calendars are in fact posted on our district website. So 2017, 2018 calendar is already posted as well. So you can certainly find out for next school year what our calendar looks like. If you have not been on our website recently, please make sure that you stay in touch with what goes on. And our website is www.chclc.org. Our website during the course of the last year went through a major overhaul as we restructured what the website looks like. We have consistency now with each of the individual school pages and what those look like. Please stay in regular contact with us by visiting our website. You can also follow us on Twitter. And the Twitter handle for the school district is @CHPSTweets, all one word, not capitalized, but @CHPSTweets. You can also follow me on Twitter at @MalashJoe, @MalashJoe, MELOCHEJOE. It's a thrill for me to be able to retweet some of the great information that goes on in our district, highlight some of our students, our clubs, and our activities. A second question that has come in was about the results from the Cherry Hill 2020 request for information that we've done during the course of the fall. So one of the board goals this year, as many of you have heard about, is to take a look at where we are as a school district and where we expect ourselves to be by the year 2020, which is not too far away. One of the overwhelming things as we've had this discussion is the fact that we're talking about 2020 and children who will begin school in 2020 and children who will be born in 2020. So as we look at the Cherry Hill 2020 program, and it's to look at vision and mission of who we are, what we do, and where we want to be, we truly are talking about children who will graduate from high school between 2038 and beyond, which is incredibly far from now in some ways, but just so close. During the course of the fall, we had surveys online. We had 3 different community forums that we hosted, which were live events, one at High School East, one at High School West, and one here at the Malberg Administration Building. I had the opportunity to go out and speak with a number of PTA groups. And then our Board of Education has had discussion at each of the committee meetings from September through December about the goals and the Cherry Hill 2020. Mrs. Lynn Sugars, who's the Assistant Superintendent and the Board Secretary, she's the Assistant Superintendent for Business. She and I will be doing a formal presentation to the Strategic Planning Committee on Tuesday, January the 3rd. The Strategic Planning meeting will meet on Tuesday, January the 3rd at about 7:20 is when we will commence. We'll also be doing the presentation to the full Board of Education on Tuesday, January the 10th, which is the regularly scheduled work session meeting. This places us about halfway through the project for this year and addressing the goal. During the course of the fall, as we took all the information in and have built quite a large repository of responses, was to take a look at what are people thinking about, what are they suggesting. Mrs. Sugars and I, when we present the information back to the board in the initial presentation, will be to start to categorize the information, highlight the topics that were seen a number of different times, and where people's mindsets are at this point with the goal work. After the presentations on January 3rd and January the 10th, we will send the information back to the board committees to discuss during the months of February, March, and April. After the April committee meetings, we will ask the committees then to resubmit information back to Mrs. Sugars and I. We'll do a final presentation on Cherry Hill 2020 at the action meeting in May of 2017. It's at that time we'll present the overall large-scale perspective about where we believe we are going as a district and where we want to be beginning in the year 2020. The follow-up to the discussion from this year will occur as we do our goals discussion for the district and for the board beginning in June of 2017. So stay tuned. If you're not able to make one of those meetings, January 3rd or January the 10th, the presentation will also be posted online. Again, on our district website, if you have the opportunity to go through, there is a wealth of information. Mrs. Wilson, as Public Information Officer, as well as the folks in the Technology Office, are able to continue to update and provide information online about what's going on in our district. The district website truly is the singular place where you can find the most information in one spot. Our district policies, information about all the different work that is going on, individual committees, the work of the board agendas, committee agendas, notes from board meetings, notes from the committee meetings about what has taken place, as well as links to each of our schools. There's information on their website that places you able to look and to talk about or to find out about jobs that are available. If you're in the community and you want to use one of our facilities, part of one of our community groups, one of the athletic teams, it'll go through and explain to you on our website what you need to do in order to use one of the facilities. Another question that came through was about water, the water testing that we've been doing, and the plans for remediation of the sites where we found actionable levels of lead in the water. So the Department of Education back in the spring of 2016 notified all public school districts in the state of New Jersey that all potable water outlets, those are the water outlets where water will be consumed, had to be tested for lead. And that came in the wake of some major concerns that developed in the Newark public schools in North Jersey, as well as the issues they were having in Flint in Michigan. The original directive that came out from the Department of Ed had samples, a certain number of samples that had to be taken from each building, and then during the course of the summer in July, we were notified that all the potable water outlets had to be tested. Our district is about 2/3 of the way through the testing of each of our schools. The remainder of the schools will be tested, which include our middle schools and our high schools during the winter break. We've had the majority of our elementary schools have been tested. And we have found some areas in our schools where the lead level has been above the actionable level as identified by the federal government. So our plan, and I placed a letter online that went through and talked about what our plan was going to be. And again, great source of information is on our website. There's actually a link on the front page that talks about water testing and what's going on in the district. But there's a letter that I put out to the community on November the 16th And in this letter I go through, and I'm just gonna refer to it, the 5 different steps that we are taking to deal with the water and student and staff exposure to lead in the water in all of our buildings. The first step is to eliminate bubblers, which are the water fountains that are contained in classrooms, and all classrooms that serve students in grades 1 or above. And many of our classrooms throughout the district, because we have buildings that have been used for multiple grade levels, there are water fountains in classrooms in 1st grade, 5th grade, some of the middle schools, and some honestly even in the high schools. State code requires water fountains in classrooms for preschool and kindergarten. So anything above that, we're going to remove those bubblers from active service in the district. We'll be replacing plumbing fixtures and installing localized filtration on the bubblers, the water fountains, in our pre-K and kindergarten classrooms where any level of lead was detected. Now again, the actionable level that's provided by the government is 15 parts per billion. In any of the sites where there was lead that was detected at all, we'll be replacing the fixtures and putting localized filtration systems on. We'll have signs in all classroom sinks indicating that they are for hand washing only. So in many of the classrooms where these water fountains, these bubblers were located, there was also a sink and a bathroom that was located. So signs are going up that say that the sinks are for hand washing only, not to fill water bottles, not for drinking, not for cups, or as we've talked with some kids about, not to put your head under to drink out of as well. We'll be replacing plumbing fixtures and installing localized filtration systems in any of the faculty rooms, nurses' offices, or kitchen sinks where lead was detected. Those are the other sinks that we tested throughout the district. In the nurse's office, a lot of times for children to take medication. For adults, the sink is used to fill up cups of water or bottles of water that are used for consumption. In the kitchens, obviously, with the preparation of food, it's water that's consumed. And then in faculty rooms as well, where our staff, they're drinking water out of the sink as well. And then finally, we're going to replace water fountains where any lead was detected with filtration, with filtered water stations that include both a bottle filling mechanism and a traditional water fountain. Now, in some of our buildings at VEC, at High School West, at High School East, some of these systems have already been installed as part of projects that were done at each of these localized buildings. And what they are large systems, and anybody can come in and use a water bottle and fill their water bottle up, where there's a water fountain mechanism that's on the front of those. That's what we'll be installing throughout the district. We're in the process. We've had a vendor, state-approved vendor, who has been in the district for about over the course of a month or so, visiting all of the sites in the district to provide an estimate for us for the replacement of these systems. Now, not all of the water fountains throughout the buildings where they currently are located will necessarily be replaced with one of these systems, because these systems require power. It's not just water, but there's power that's required with them to go through. So we'll be providing additional information to each of the buildings about where the water fountains and water filtration units will be placed and when that will begin. We expect to be moving forward in January with the initial installation, and again working with a state contract vendor to provide this. Interestingly enough, as we went through, there are actually guidelines for the number of water fountains that we have to provide. The state code provides one guideline, or provides one water fountain for every 100 people that are there. So here's a question that just came in through email that Mrs. Wilson is holding up. I'm going to read it for you. The question is, what is the best way for me to voice general or specific questions to you, to me, the superintendent, or to the Board of Education? Thank you for that question. For the email submission, for the online submission of questions for us, it's a very good question. The best way to submit questions or concerns to me, as long as it's not of an emergency situation where somebody's in danger of being harmed, is through email. So we are all accessible via email. All the employees in the district, our email addresses, almost all the employees, there are some variations, but our email address is the first initial of our first name and then our first last name, or the spelling of our last name. So if you want to email me, my email address is jmeloche, JMELOCHE, @chclc.org. Our board members, their email addresses are also posted on our district website. It's their full name, @chclc.org. If you have questions about the operation of what's going on in the district or about major things that are taking place, you can certainly email me. I encourage everyone, if you have a specific issue with something that's going on at school, with your child's experience or something that's happening, my recommendation for you is to always start at the nexus or at the beginning of the problem. So if there's an issue that's going on in the classroom, I encourage you first to contact the teacher. The teacher is going to be the best person to be able to initially respond to an issue, to a concern. The next person, depending upon the level, if you're at the secondary level, could be the assistant principal or the principal. At the elementary level, is certainly the principal. You can always contact to go straight through. If you contact me directly and it involves something that's going to go on and that has gone on or is going on in a school, one of the questions that I will have is in my response, and I will respond to your email, is going to be directed back to the school to make sure that it can the opportunity to address it occurs there first. But yeah, always via email. My secretary, Janet Cohen, she can always be accessed via telephone. The number here at Malberg is 856-429-5600, and her extension is 43009. So you can always reach Janet. If she's not there, you can certainly leave a message. But email is always a great way to reach us. Now, at each of our board meetings, and typically we have 2 board meetings a month, the work session meeting occurs on the second Tuesday of the month, and the action meeting typically occurs on the 4th Tuesday of the month. At every board meeting, there are 2 separate times for public comment. There's public comment at the beginning of the meeting, and that's where any member of the public can get up and address the board at the microphone for a maximum of 3 minutes. Now, the first public comment has to be on something that is specifically listed on the board agenda. Then there's a second public comment. The second public comment occurs after the work of the board has been done for the evening and before the adjournment of the meeting. The second public comment, people can go to the microphone and speak for 3 minutes on any topic that they would like to address. So folks always have the opportunity to come out and speak at the board meetings. Currently, our board meetings are all held here at the Malberg Administration Building, and they're in the Board of Education room in the boardroom. Oh, another question that just came through electronically. Somebody asked about the artwork behind me. So a couple of things. First, I've been told many times that I have the face for radio, so we thought it would be much nicer to be able to have something in the background to go through. So the artwork that's behind me was done at Barton Elementary School. Dr. Maureen Ruschi, who is the superintendent here for a number of years and a phenomenal transitional leader, one of the things that she started was hosting art receptions here at the Malberg Administration Building. So the building in which I work, where the superintendent's office is, we have the alternative high school, which is a small learning environment for some high school students that are here. And then the rest of the building, the majority of the building, are administrative offices. So there are a lot of adults who are here. And adults in education, while important, are not the primary reason why we do what we do. So Dr. Ruschi started inviting the elementary schools, the middle schools, and the high schools to submit artwork to be displayed in the administration building. A selection of the artwork is hung in the superintendent's office each month. And then again, the artwork that's behind me was submitted by students from Barton Elementary School, whose art teachers are Linda Day Strutz and Sarah Gilgore. So we actually just had the reception the other night. So we hang the artwork up, and then we invite all the children to have the artwork hanging in here to come out to reception. I get to meet them. I get to talk to them and to their parents and to their relatives about the art that they have created. It really is a highlight. So thank you for asking that question, and thank you for noticing the art behind me. And again, for this month, thank you to Barton Elementary School and for the artists who are willing to share their work with us. I always talk when I meet with the children when they come in. I always tell them, as much as I really want to keep the art and keep their art here, we do send it back to them, and then they display it back in the schools. But the art shows do go on throughout the course of the year. Art shows actually occur at all of our schools. So each one of the schools during the course of the year has an art show that occurs. At the 2 high schools, at the comprehensive high schools, High School East and High School West, the Performing and Visual Arts Society, PAVIS, they do a very large art display as well as some other things in the spring. Again, through the district website, in our calendar of events, or through the school websites, you can always look to see what's going on. I encourage you to come out and to see the incredible artwork that is created in a number of different medium at our high schools. There's 3D art that's done in clay, where it's fired in the kilns. There's 3D artwork that's done on boards. There's 3D artwork that is done in a frame or in a picture. There's photography, there's painting, there's drawing. It's incredible the level of talent that exists in the district and the way that it is cultivated by our instructors. So I encourage you, stay in touch, come out and see the artwork that goes on. As we go through the month of December, we were in the midst of our winter concert season. So our middle schools and our high schools have been presenting their winter concerts. So if you have an opportunity during the evening over the course of the next week and into January, please make sure you check the calendar of events and what's going on. Come out and see the concerts. Come out and see the shows that go on. So some upcoming events, as we talk about the calendar, and again, you can find online where they are. Some of the things that are occurring. We have winter sports are beginning at our secondary schools, at the 3 middle schools and at the 2 high schools. I know that there are boys basketball games at both of our high schools this afternoon and this evening. So again, if you like winter sports and winter sports in Cherry Hill at the middle schools, we have girls and boys basketball, we have wrestling, we have cheerleading. There's also bowling that goes on in the middle schools. At the high school level, we have boys and girls swimming. We have boys and girls basketball. There's winter track, which is also boys and girls bowling that goes on, as well as cheerleading. Encourage you to come out, see the athletic events, see the competition. There's nothing like the excitement of athletic competition, especially in the winter when you're inside the gym. It's nice, and it's close, and it's loud, and we have incredibly successful athletic teams that are here. We also have shows that are coming up. Both of the high schools are in the process of beginning to cast for their large-scale musicals that will take place in the spring. There are also concerts that will occur after January 1st that we encourage you to come out to see. Again, if you go to our district website, take a look at the calendar of events, and you can also go into each of the individual schools. A great place to receive information is to go through. We have a weekly e-news that comes out that Mrs. Wilson works on, and on there talks about some previous events, some upcoming events that are going on. A highlight that our parents and families of 5th grade students and of 8th grade students that you want to make sure you mark down on your calendar are the information nights that are coming up in January and February. So our 3 middle schools, Carusi Middle School and Beck Middle School, which are geographically bound middle schools, and Rosa Middle School, which is a magnet middle school where students from all 12 elementary schools have the opportunity to submit their name to be selected in the selection process to attend, because it blends students from both sides of town. But the information nights for the 5th grade students are coming up at all 3 of our middle schools. And then for our 8th grade students, the information nights for High School East and High School West are upcoming as well. Gives everyone the opportunity to go out to see the school, to speak with the administrators, speak with some staff, and most importantly, to speak with some of the students. One of the most incredible things we have in Cherry Hill is the opportunity to have choice. So at the high school level, we have open enrollment, and children have the opportunity to choose which high school they want to go to. So if you move into town, or when you come out of 8th grade, the opportunity to choose High School East and High School West. One of the unifying things that we have throughout the district, even with the opportunity for choice, is that we have one curriculum. So there's one curriculum that exists at each of our grade levels. So kindergarten through 5th grade, there's an English language arts curriculum for 1st grade and a math curriculum for 3rd grade. It's the same at all of our schools. The same thing applies in middle school and in high school. There's no differentiation in the curriculum or what our expectations are as an educational staff, as an instructional staff, for what our students will experience and to the level to which they will achieve at each of the different schools. So we encourage you to come out and see those information nights. You're even welcome to come if you have a 7th grade student and you want to start having that discussion now. Certainly come to the information night. But again, check the website to see where that is. An important reminder for you, next Friday, December the 23rd, is an early dismissal day for all students. So again, please make sure if you have children in any of our schools, you are aware of the early dismissal time on Friday, December the 23rd. Please make sure that you go through. Easy way for you to keep up with information. Again, you can sign up for the weekly e-newsletter that comes out. You can follow us on Twitter. You can follow the district, again, which is at CHPS Tweets. You can follow me at Malash Joe. And you'll see a lot of information that comes through. You can also sign up for the district app. So we have an app. The classic line, there's an app for that. There is a Cherry Hill School District app, and you can get it either in the iTunes, on iTunes in the iTunes Store, or in Google App, or the Google Play Store, and it's free. It doesn't cost anything. Just provided as a service. One of the great things about the app is you can identify which schools you want to receive information about, and you get all the district e-news or all the district blasts that come out of important information. As the temperature has certainly reminded us over the last couple of days, and that little dusting of snow that we had the other morning, we are in the midst of entering into the winter season. And I'm sure at some point there'll be a little bit of heavier snowfall, maybe some freezing and some ice. and that kind of thing that we will be dealing with. A great way to receive information about whether there's going to be a change in the daily schedule, either a delayed opening or a school closing, is through the district app. Also online, it goes through the information about how often or the times during the course of the day when we will make a decision about altering the daily schedule. Again, whether closing school or having a delayed opening. So please make sure you sign up for our app and follow us electronically. Park schedules. So again, this time of year, we're in the process of discussing the administration of the park assessment. This will be the third year that we are administering the park in New Jersey. It's something that is a requirement for us to administer. It's part of the statutory requirement that the state provides for us. We actually have some new park schedule implementation that we will utilize at the high school. The final announcement about the days for the park schedule will be made after the first of the year. But the process that we're going through, really the finalization of the high school is an attempt to do our park testing in 3 days. So as a credit to Dr. Perry and Dr. Morton, working with Dr. Mahan, who's the director of curriculum, as well as the administrative and instructional staff at both the high schools, and Mr. Bart in the technology department, working with those folks to try to accommodate park testing just during the course of 3 days at the high school level. So finalized schedules will come out again after the 1st of January. The middle school and elementary schedules will follow a similar pattern for the park administration of the park assessment as they did last year. Those also will come out after the 1st of the year. Something formal will come home from each of the schools for children who are going to be taking or sitting for the park test, so that you have the information that you need. Again, in specific questions about individual buildings, I encourage you to contact your child's teacher first, and then either a guidance counselor or the building principal if you have a question about the schedule. So as we finalize, because I think we have come to the end of all of our online questions that have been submitted, so a brief lunch of 30 minutes. I hope that you have taken the opportunity while we've been together today to have some lunch. This is not my lunch, not just a cup of coffee, although I do enjoy a good cup of coffee. I will have some lunch after this. But I just want to thank you. I want to thank you for joining us. I want to thank you for spending the time with us. One of our goals in doing this, and we will continue to do this periodically, whether it'll be monthly or every 6 weeks or so, is just to provide another venue and another way for you in the community, our constituents, as well as the community at large, to learn more about the Cherry Hill Public School District. If you have specific topics you'd like us to address moving forward, send them to us. Email them. You can always email the Public Information Office. You can always email me directly if you have specific questions or things for us to focus on. Again, thank you for taking the time. I wish everyone a healthy and safe and happy New Year. Please enjoy the winter break together. Spend time with family, spend time with friends. Take the time to read, find a good book or two during the winter break, but take the time to rejuvenate yourself. Be well.